How's it going, everybody? It's Royalty Crypto here, and today I will be talking about whether or not I think that we are ready to see the next leg up for Bitcoin and crypto. I'll also be talking about some bullish catalysts to keep your eyes on over the next couple of weeks to months, and whether or not I think this crypto rally is sustainable, or if we will see a correction back to the downside. But before I get into all of that, guys, this is a brand new crypto YouTube channel, so if you like daily crypto and financial market content, please make sure to smash that like and subscribe button. But alright guys, let's take a look at the overall market. As you can see, Bitcoin is holding above $91,000 and we are up 1% in the past 24 hours. It is nice to see that we've been able to hold above 91,000 for quite some time, as for the last couple of weeks we have been rejected off of these levels basically as soon as we've hit it. You can also see that Ethereum and Solana are continuing to trade in an upwards direction, which is of course a very bullish sign because we have seen a lot of weakness in the overall altcoin space for the past couple of months. But guys, the real story of this week has been how parabolic all of the meme coins have gone. I've been talking about on my channel how I didn't think that meme coins were dead and that I actually was accumulating for the past couple of months because we always see this in crypto. Meme coins are considered the most risky side of crypto, so whenever we do have fear in the markets, they get hit the hardest, but vice versa, whenever we see greed return, meme coins have parabolic pumps, and that is exactly what we're seeing right now. As you can see, basically every single meme coin in the top 10 to 15 is up at least 15%, and some, as in Pepe, are up as high as 66% in just the past week. I mean, that is insane. We haven't seen a move like this in quite some time. And honestly, guys, I wouldn't be surprised if this is actually the early signs of the next leg up for crypto. Meme coins are a very good indicator of whether or not retail is FOMOing back into the market. And in my opinion, guys, it really does seem like retail is starting to buy back in and believe in crypto yet again. Now, of course, this is just the early stages, and if this rally is able to continue, then of course much more retail will start to FOMO in, and that is what could potentially cause the blow off top in 2026 for crypto. And when you go on over to the Fear and Greed Index, you can see that we are actually back into neutral for the first time in a couple of months, which is also a very good sign. So guys, I am personally no longer dollar cost averaging into crypto as of today, and the reason for that is because I have bought so much in the past couple of months when we were in the peak fear levels. Now, if you were watching my channel, and of course I never give financial advice, but I was sharing that in my personal opinion, I thought that buying down here in the extreme fear levels would end up rewarding you quite nicely in the coming months, and I still do believe that that will be the case. If you were buying down here in extreme fear, a lot of your positions are probably starting to flip green, and in my opinion, if we do end up seeing this next leg up for crypto, those buys down here in the extreme fear level will end up being insanely profitable, and that is basically what happens every time we touch extreme fear. So guys, if you did end up missing this recent dip, I do think that it is still a decent time to buy, but of course the higher we go in terms of price for these assets, the more risky it is to buy, and once we surpass about 50 to 60 on the Fear and Greed Index, I no longer think that it is worth it to buy altcoins in the crypto space because the risk is just too high in my opinion. But guys, do I think this crypto rally is sustainable? I actually do, and the reasoning behind that, guys, is because when you look at the psychology of market cycle cheat sheet, I believe that we are currently sitting in disbelief on this rally. Now, of course, I could be wrong, and this is just a prediction. Nobody knows for sure what will happen in markets, but I think that it is very likely that we are currently in disbelief. In the past couple of months, we have seen the anger phase, we have seen the depression phase where basically everybody left crypto, and it seemed like everybody on social media no longer believed or was even interested in crypto. And now, since we have had this rally, I've seen basically everybody saying that it's a sucker's rally and that it won't last, and in my opinion, that is textbook disbelief on this chart. Another reason why I believe that we are likely in disbelief is because we have one of the most important catalysts coming in just the next couple of days to weeks, and that is Trump announcing the new Fed chair. As most of you know if you've been watching my channel, Jerome Powell is basically the most hawkish Fed chair possible, and Trump is likely going to appoint somebody who is the opposite of that and who wants to cut rates and turn on the money printers as soon as possible. So in my opinion, opinion, once he does announce this Fed chair, I think that the markets will price this in up until his inauguration in May of 2026, and it is very likely that we will end up seeing a buy the rumor, sell the news event. So I think that it is very possible that we could see a blow off top phase for crypto sometime between January to May of this year. So that would make a lot of sense that we would currently be sitting in disbelief, because nobody believes in this rally right now because of the negative price action that we've seen in the past couple of months. But from a macro standpoint, this rally does actually make a lot of sense in my opinion. But alright guys, let's also talk about some short-term news that we should be watching for this week. As most of you know, yesterday the US ended up sending military strikes to Venezuela and capturing their president Nicolas Maduro. Yesterday in my video when I talked about this event, I wasn't sure how to think about it at the time, but in my opinion it actually does seem like it's going to be a neutral event for markets. The reasoning for that is because Nicolas Maduro, who I previously really didn't know much about, was apparently not the person that should have been in charge of Venezuela. Now, I'm not going to get too much into this, but apparently all of the citizens in Venezuela seem to be very happy about this decision, and overall it hasn't affected the prices of assets so far. Now, in my opinion, what we do need to be watching for is how the global response will be for this event, and whether or not there is any issues regarding the legality of how Trump went about this situation. Now, I think that it is very possible that China or Russia could end up retaliating against us in some way, whether that is with restrictions on trade or actually starting wars of their own. That could, of course, cause more uncertainty in markets, and markets hate uncertainty. So hopefully nothing ends up coming from this in terms of negative price action, but this is definitely something to keep your eyes on, and this is my biggest concern for the short term at the moment. Also guys, we do have quite a bit of economic data that is being released this week that will cause some volatility in my opinion. On Monday, we have the ISM manufacturing index being released, and then most importantly on Thursday and Friday, we have the initial jobless claims and the US unemployment report coming out. Now, of course, this is very important for the direction of which the federal funds rate will go in the next couple of months. So we do want these numbers to come in line with expectations or potentially better. And when it goes for the unemployment reports, we wouldn't mind these actually being bad in terms of unemployment being higher than expected, because it does give the Fed more ammunition to cut rates in order to save the jobs market, and the lower we cut rates, the better it is for overall risk on assets. Alright guys, so the last thing that I wanted to talk about today is the Bitcoin liquidation heat map. So there currently is two arguments for the Bitcoin liquidation heat map on how it could potentially affect the price action for the crypto market in the short to medium term. Let's go ahead and start with the somewhat bearish case, and this is only a short-term case, guys, but that is the fact that we have started to stack a lot of long leverage positions beneath us in the past couple of days. This is because we are having some greed return to the market, and when greed returns to the market, people take leverage trade positions. So I think that it is possible, and I'm not predicting this by any means, that market makers could end up liquidating these longs and bringing us back down to around $88,000 to $85,000 for Bitcoin. This could potentially make sense for market makers to manipulate the price downwards to liquidate these people, because they could end up making money off of this move. But in my opinion, guys, the long term on the Bitcoin liquidation heat map looks incredibly bullish. When you zoom on out to the 3-month, you can see just how unbalanced this chart is to the upside rather than the downside. We have an absurd amount of short leverage positions open from $91,000 all the way up to about $125,000. In my opinion, whenever we see the chart this unbalanced, it is likely that the price of Bitcoin will move in the direction where it can liquidate the most amount of people. And as you guys know, the price of Bitcoin can move up very quickly. And if that is the case in the next couple of weeks, we could easily see a short squeeze scenario play out for the price of Bitcoin. And that could be fueled by the new federal chair replacement news. So I would definitely be keeping your eyes on that, guys. It is definitely possible that we could see a move back to all-time highs for Bitcoin in basically 4 to 5 days time. I would definitely not rule that out, and it will happen very quickly in my opinion. And if that does end up happening, guys, the 4-year cycle narrative will officially be out the window, and everybody will no longer believe in it, which in my opinion will fuel a lot of FOMO back into the market, profits, and that could again cause a blow off top phase. But alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this video and this bullish hopium content. I feel very good about crypto right now. Of course, we could have a short-term correction, but I think that the early stages of 2026 will be incredible for our assets. But I hope you guys have a great rest of your Sunday, and I'll be talking to you guys tomorrow. Peace.